Good evening, everyone. Yet another Teja session happening on this lovely eve of freedom for Sydney siders. So looking forward to days of less restrictions from tomorrow onwards. And a great topic today about finding our passion and our side hustle, how to keep that fire burning and do some exciting projects. I think which rightly said, during lockdown, a lot of people have been reflecting on passions, hobbies, and because the good side about the lockdown was that we were saving a lot of time in not traveling to places. So I think I know quite a few people who have been exploring or tapping into their passion and starting this side hustle or something creative on their side. And today's session hopefully will help you keep that fire burning and continue that passion even when we've become busier from tomorrow onwards. So for those who are new today, warm welcome to Teja. A little bit about myself. I'm Kalyani and my sister Jayanti. We started this initiative last year during lockdown. It was another one of our finding our hidden passion about bringing the benefits of personal growth, different forms of meditation, reflection, mindfulness, and sharing some ideas and collaborating with people who have had a lot of influence, who are inspiring, who are uplifting. And it's been such a wonderful journey, Jayanti and myself, talking to all sorts of people from different walks of life and being able to bring them to you through these conversations. I will like to introduce Jayanti, who's my sister. And Jayanti, would you like to say something? Is Jayanti here? Yeah, she is.
Hello, sorry, I'm running a bit late. I'm just connecting my headphones, but I'll let you get started. Thanks everyone for joining today. I'm really excited to speak about this subject of side hustles because I've had a few. Kalyani and I are very excited about Teja anyway because that's our side hustle. So I think it'll be like quite inspiring for us as well.
Okay, thanks, Jayanti. Moving on to the next slide, please. So what is a side hustle? I think it's a common term, most of us know what it is, but just to define a side hustle, I think it's this passion, this thing, this something that gives you this infinite joy and that you never seem to run out of ideas or energy for. And sometimes I wish I was doing this for my full-time work and I wish this was giving me my full-time income. Then yes, that is your side hustle. And maybe you have that passion hidden away somewhere, but you're not quite converting it into, it's a hobby, it's something you like to do for others. Maybe it's not quite a side hustle yet. Doesn't matter, it's still something there. The fire is burning. So hopefully this session inspires all of us, no matter where we are in the journey of the side hustle, to get out there and do something. So when I was reading about side hustle and quotes, I thought I've found this appropriate one that you can see. Everyone has this daily life that we lead. Some of us are lucky that if we're working in a profession that is also our passion and giving us money, then that's fantastic. But a lot of the times we are getting out there, working this 9-to-5 job that helps us pay all the bills, lead our life, fulfill our responsibilities. But then there's something there that we really, you may not have enough time, but you still want to explore that. You still want to keep doing that. And along today's session, we'll have this activity. If you have not yet discovered that secret within you, that will trigger that, and it will help you discover what that skill or that passion is within you. And I am really excited to welcome someone who I've admired so much. I've been a really ardent fan on social media. I've really loved her work. I've really enjoyed every conversation I've had with her. So I'm excited today to bring to you Bhavna. Hi, Bhavna. Thank you so much for your time. A little bit about Bhavna, and then I'll let her speak. If you can move on to the next slide, please. Yes, so very excited to have you today, Bhavna, from the Modern Desi. She is an amazing I don't know how do you call it? I wouldn't say a cook, chef. She's the creator of these amazing meals.
Artist. I think that's the word you're looking for. An
Sorry?
artist. An
An
artist.
artist. Yes, Jayanti, that's right. I feel like she's more of an artist. So I know a lot of you are already probably have seen Bhavna's social media, and her Instagram particularly is so impressive. So when I first met her, I have to tell you where I met her. So she had this concept of a pop-up restaurant, and the pop-up restaurant itself seemed so exciting and interesting. We had one of the most amazing meals I've ever had, honestly. It was a multiple course meal, and it was a bit like the stomach was full, but the taste buds craved for more. It was just amazing. And then ever since, we've been in touch, we've kept in touch, and I've really enjoyed every conversation. I've been following her journey, and I really, really don't, I can't comprehend how you can keep up with this side hustle that's made you an entrepreneur now, and you still do your full-time IT job. So we'll love to find out more. Welcome, Bhavna. So excited to have you.
Thank you, Kalyani and Jayanti, for having me. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm using new technology. So I'm feeling, even though I work for IT, I'm feeling a little worried. So let me know if you can't hear me, because I'm using, speak headphones in my ears without using the socket. So it's going to be interesting.
That's great. We can hear you very well. So let's get started. As you know, Bhavna, this is very casual conversational, and I've prepared some questions beforehand, which I think will be really nice to hear from Bhavna. What's her story and how she converted this passion of hers into a side hustle, and how she improvised and where she is at today. So moving on to the next question. The first question. Jayanti and I will ask questions alternately, if that's okay. So let me ask the first one. So what made you focus on your passion, and tell us how you got started?
So I moved to Australia over 12 years ago, and I was really missing India after moving here. I think every Indian on this call will agree how terrible the Indian food scene is in Australia. And it was same colors of all the curries. There was just all the British Indian version of curries, and that really started to get to me because I was not enjoying what I was eating. Plus I had fallen sick. So, there was a lot of things happening in the background: homesickness, being away so far, new country, trying to make it on my own, new colleagues, new office. So I started cooking, and I started documenting what I was doing. And I started to really enjoy it because it allowed me to go back and find stories, because I'm talking 12 years ago, when people really had the time to read what you wrote. These were days when Facebook was still very brand new. People still read blogs. People commented on your blogs and told you what they thought. So it was very interesting because it became a way for me to get in touch with, or keep in touch with, people back home, people in Australia who were really missing home. And I found that there were other people who had the same story, where they missed home, they grew up in the 80s, we had the same life experiences. So that's how I really started. But what made me focus on it is just, this purpose. Like, what am I doing? Am I just born to be an IT consultant? Is that going to be my life? Like, when I'm 60 and someone asks me, what did you do? What am I going to say? I worked for this IT company, and I was a project manager. Or do I want to say I'm a creative person? I do a lot of other things as well. So that made me really think about what I wanted to do on the side. Plus, I'm very hyper. So I like to keep doing things. I'm not someone who can sit quietly. So on the weekends, I started doing a lot of writing. I started taking pictures, even though my older pictures were really, really, really bad. But it just grew, and I started to focus on it and wanted to get better at writing. I wanted to get better at taking pictures, and somehow that just became like a proper full-time side hustle on the side, which I do now all the time. So that's how I started to focus on it.
Great. Thank you. And I totally get that feeling when I came 18 years ago. Like finding a good Indian meal in a restaurant was like, wow, that is, I need to make a note of that so I can go back to that
Yeah.
place again. Uh,
Yeah.
Totally understand. There's so much more available now, and thanks to you, on days when I'm feeling like, oh, I just don't want to go to the kitchen, I look at some of Bhavna's recipes and go, yeah, okay, that I can do that. If it's going to turn out half as good as it's in her picture, then yes, I'm motivated to cook. So thank you for inspiring us, Bhavna. That's great. We'll
I
move on to the
always
next.
like to tell people, Kalyani, that my food is very ordinary. It's not fancy cakes, fancy desserts. I am a full-time working woman, like most of you here. I need to have food that I can get ready in an hour and that I will eat and feel happy. I'm not climbing any mountains when I'm cooking. So I think that's why people connect with the food, because anyone can make my food, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, honestly, looking at even the desserts that Bhavna makes, you look at the recipe and think, oh, it looks like that, but it's not that hard to make actually.
Yeah.
So it's a simplified version. And I think the way you write, that is definitely the connection point. So I would say, please follow Bhavna on Instagram. Reading her stories is so much meaning, so much connection. Really enjoy it, honestly. So Jayanti, do you want to ask the next question?
Yeah, but before that, I just want to say something to Bhavna. Bhavna, I've seen your Instagram. Please don't say that I didn't think any of the pictures, old, new, however old you thought were bad. None of them are bad. Trust me, they're all like really appealing and really good to me. And I think you're doing an amazing job, especially because I've seen your pictures. You're inspiring like non-Indian people to be closer to our culture through food because it's a big part, right? So it's really inspiring. I love your energy also that you really want to do these things. Um, so it takes a lot. I think a lot of people do feel passionate or like drawn towards something, but to actually convert it into a side hustle is a step that a lot of people don't actually take, you know. So how did you manage to do that? We know that you have high levels of energy, but apart from that, how did you manage to be an IT consultant and have time to pursue your hobby into a side hustle?
I think one thing that I would like to say is, this word passion is quite overused, because if you look at social media, everyone is following their passion and they've left their corporate jobs and they're all living the life we all want to live, right? But I am a middle class Indian. I grew up in a time when, for me, my job is what's bringing the money in, right? So for me, that's security. And I can never leave that security because I know at end of the month, I'm going to get that paycheck in my bank, right? However, side hustle is, it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So one thing early on that I decided is I'm not going to leave my job. That's the first thing I decided when I thought, okay, I can do something out of this side hustle. That was the first thing, purely because one, I love my job. I absolutely love what I do. I love the people I work with. I work with some excellent, some very intelligent people, and that's a huge high. Going to work and talking to these amazing, intelligent people, getting these different perspectives is amazing. You get to learn. And, because if you're sitting at home, sometimes I feel we get a little cocooned in our little bubble, especially right now. If you notice with the lockdown, I feel we are all living in this little cocoon. So I decided I'm not going to leave my job. The other thing is, because I'm doing a job and because I am doing this, I had to make sure that my job didn't suffer. I had to make sure that no one from work, like my manager, because everyone from work literally follows me on Instagram. So I didn't want anyone to feel that, okay, she's not giving her 100% to work because she's doing this on the side. So what I did was I made sure that I plan my day. I'm a serial planner. I plan like planning is going out of business. Matlab, I live on my Outlook calendar. मेरी जिंदगी चलती है Outlook calendar पे. So I make sure that all my meetings, so work meetings are booked in, all my my personal stuff is on a separate, Google Calendar. So I make sure that I know what I'm doing. I make sure that I know how my week is going to look like. If I have some commitments that I have to do business-wise, I will make sure I plan ahead, because then what happens is it takes the stress away. And it's still fun. Like, matlab, abhi bhi maza aa raha hai. It's not like, oh my God, now I have to cook. Now I have to do this. Now I'm still enjoying it, and that's my pro tip to anyone is just plan, because how else are you going to manage your life otherwise? There are people who live in the moment. I am not that person. I need to make sure that I know what is happening tomorrow. Even when we were going to the office, I used to make sure I knew what I was going to wear the next day. I knew my breakfast, what breakfast was going to be made. I knew what I was taking for lunch. Even my shoes would be out, what I was going to wear, my earrings. I know it sounds crazy, but it just made sure that if I had to sleep 30 minutes extra, I'm not rushing out of the door. If I have a 9 a.m. meeting, I know I've got everything ready. I can go to work. And then if I have to come back and I have to shoot something for my personal stuff, I have the time, and so that's how I manage it. And I guess it works for me.
Thanks, Bhavna. You have motivated me for becoming a planner as well now. Thank you.
I think it's really good, and to each his own, right? Because I have a small diary in which I write about, because I'm a researcher, so I have to plan my experiments, and they go on for multiple days. So someone asked me, like my boss at work asked me, like, why don't you put everything on Outlook? And I'm like, well, my personal life is a part of it, so I kind of like I kind of need to fit in my time into it. So I have these handwritten notes in my calendar all the time, and I think it's so helpful. Like when I don't do that, I feel quite chaotic. And I think if you want to do a side hustle, even if you're a person who wants to live in the moment and everything, I think some amount of planning is quite essential. So I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Bhavna. I think, and that's also where it shows that you are serious, because in your mind you almost want to. People don't like change, even if it's changing for the better. You think, I want to become more efficient, or I want to become more fit. I want to go to the gym more often or exercise more often. But there's something in you that wants to keep you the same, doesn't want you to change. But in order to take it seriously, if just putting pen to paper makes it serious, makes it a commitment. So I totally agree with that. And if the side hustle is serious business, then yes, you have to write it down. Otherwise, every opportunity you get, your mind is going to say, oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I'm too tired. It's very easy to cut out the side hustle. But I guess what you're doing is exactly proving the point that I am serious about work and I'm equally serious about my side hustle, and everything is planned. So that's a great takeaway. Thank you. Let's move to the next one. We've got one comment here as well. Just keeping an eye on the chat. Yeah, Nayana is saying, I feel so connected with what Bhavna is saying, so much real and on the ground. Yep, that's very true. So, Bhavna, what were some of the insights you gained through your side hustle, and how did they keep you motivated? So you probably did have aha moments, and we all have, we've experienced that. Great, that's a sign that I should keep going, or something that gave you that confidence.
I think if you're asking me for an insight, the most important thing for me is, first of all, knowing what your strengths are. I think we all want to do a lot of things, right? If you look at, again, I keep coming back to social media because our lives are on social media, right? So people are doing so many things. Like, I want to be everything, because you can be everything right now. The world is your oyster. But do I have time to be everything? Am I skilled enough to do everything? So I think you need to have an honest conversation with yourself first before you decide, okay, mujhe kuch karna hai, like I want to do something with the side hustle. First, have that conversation with yourself. Are you good at that? Have some honest conversations with people who are close to you. Like, I feel no one on social media is your friend. Your real friends who actually meet, talk, have been together for a very long time, they are your real friends. Have those conversations with them, see what they have to say, right? Because a lot of times we get so, I want to feel like I am the queen of the world, but I'm sure I have a lot of flaws. So it's good for people to tell you, and look, this is not what you're doing right. You could do something differently, and take those suggestions on board. The other thing is for motivation, like I have days when I just don't want to do anything. So what I do is, again, coming back to planning, I make sure that if I have to put content out on social media, on the days that I'm not feeling that great, I will rehash some of that content and use it. So I'm still connecting to the audience that are there, but I'm still giving myself some downtime. I'm not sitting there and writing things, because writing takes time, sometimes, and I'm a spontaneous writer. So a lot of times my good writing comes out of the blue. I'll be just sitting there after dinner, just on the couch, and I'll write something, and it's something that people will connect with. So, but that's stressful sometimes, right? Because you're pushing yourself so to write something nice. So if you are, I feel that on days when I'm not feeling motivated, I will use some of my old content and rehash it. So I'm not putting pressure on myself. And to motivate myself, I just take a lot of social media breaks. I have realized that for me, my energy is important. Who I share my energy with is very important. And to motivate myself, I need to take some time off so that I can just focus on other things, and also follow people who are inspiring in real world, not on social media. So I will, talk to my friends who I look up to. I will have chats with people who I look up to. I'll read a good book that will bring some, motivation to me, inspire me to write something nice. So that's how I keep myself going. And it's taken a long time for me to reach there, where I've started realizing, okay, I'm reaching a point where I'm burning out. I need to stop using social media for a few days, and then I will just not post anything for a few days. And recharge my batteries.
Absolutely, that's great. And I agree so much that, social media can really, it can suck the energy out of you. And no matter what people say, even if they are established, I mean, I couldn't totally be able to say what established social media or successful social media people are experiencing, because I'm not one of them. But just, comparison is a thief of joy. So whenever you are putting, you're just bound to get sucked into how many likes, how many comments, who responded, what happened. It's always bound to be there. If someone is in your same niche area, then what are they doing? How are they, doing better than you? And you are bound to, I think social media is made for that building on that human behavior of comparison. And
jealousy.
Exactly, yeah. So walking away is so powerful. I totally get what you're saying. When you walk away,
it took me a lot of time to learn to walk away.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's what, and the insecurity as well, right? When you think you walk away and don't post for a few days, oh, what will my followers think? Will I lose my influence? There's all sorts of questions that will arise. But I think when you're able to, like you said, you write from your heart, when you put that writing across, people will come back no matter what, because they are connected not with your superficiality, something that is deep down, that is striking a chord with them. So I think I can totally see where you have evolved through your own experiences as well, and taken wise decisions about how you stay attached or detached from social media. That's another thing that people often, I think, get confused about.
Bhavna, it's so beautiful what you said, and I can relate to you so well. I'm going to come out and say something uncomfortable now, but like few months ago, I had a very acute phase of depression. And the one thing that I did was I cut off from my Instagram and my social media. People were like, oh, where have you disappeared? Are you okay? Some people reached out to me and said, where have you disappeared? Are you okay? And I was just like, well, I'm just, going through a time when I'm taking some time off. And then I came back eventually, but that little period off was like very, very helpful for me, because you stop having that need for external validation from social media. everyone needs validation. I think you're not a human being if you say that I don't need
Yeah.
any validation. I'm like a saint or a Buddha. I don't need anything like that. But I think most people are humans and we do need some form of validation. But I think getting off that for a little bit is definitely very, very helpful. And I think what you said is, because I've read your posts and you definitely write from the heart. And it's something that you really care about. If it's something that you truly want to share about, like, because it's also like a mental health awareness time, I'm going to share this thing that, because I think my purpose of sharing on social media is to spread awareness about mental health, like spread awareness about therapy, the things that have helped me and Kalyani in our spiritual growth, in our personal growth. So I think if you just write whatever you feel like saying to people, it helps. But other than that, it's really important to know when to step back and when to know you're burning out. So thanks. I 100% relate to that.
Because social media is made to, you look at everyone's life and everyone's living the perfect life, right? Everyone's got amazing homes, their spouses are most loving, even their dogs are cute, right? Like, and the children are amazing. All their children are smart, intelligent. Like, when I grew up, my mother used to say to duffer hai. Like, because not out of spite, but that's how parents were. They just told you off and they kept you grounded. And now everyone is amazing. And then I look at my life sometimes and I think, my life is not this amazing. Like, last year I got triggered because someone was promoting a skincare product that I couldn't afford. And for some reason, I was having very bad skin at that time. And it just sent me into depression. And when I think about it, I think I'm so silly because that's not even something I'm going to do. But because my state of mind was so bad at that time, something as small as a cream triggered my depression. And then that made me think, what? I have to remember, why am I here? Am I here to get likes? Am I here to get followers? Or am I here to share my story? So on bad days, that is what I tell myself, that I'm sharing my story. There are days when I'll get 100 likes on one post. There are days when I'll get 1,000 likes. It used to really bother me. Like till last year, hand on my heart, it used to get my goat. Okay, yeah, I'm spending so much time writing with this, with so much love. And Instagram algorithm is such, okay, no one is reading what I'm writing. And then I had to say again, why are you doing this? And that just stopped me from going into that rabbit hole and helped. So that's how I motivate myself, definitely.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Bhavna. So the next question is, this is a very interesting one, and I think our audience here will love to hear the answer to that. So what will you tell people who have dreams of launching their side hustle, but they never had the courage or time? I would put it in air quotes because time is very subjective and you always get time for doing what you prioritize. So, but there are people who will say, oh, we don't have time, or no, I'm too busy in my job. I don't want to start that side hustle. So what will you like to tell them?
I think, look, to be honest, to each is their own, right? When I look at my life, I feel that if I didn't do what I was doing, I would probably be in a very dark place. So I feel for me, it is important to do this, but people have their own journey. If you want to do a side hustle, I always tell people, look at your strength. What is it that you're good at? It's not a corporate job, 9 to 5 job, which is also amazing. You could be good at your corporate job, right? You could be a great accountant. You could be a great doctor. You could be a great, IT person. You could be amazing at it, which is great. But then I'm sure there is something else that you're good at as well, because we all have so many sides of ourselves. Like, and I just tell people, like, at least explore it before you decide you don't want to do it. Because time ka kya hai? Time is, it's like water, not water, sorry. Time is like, it's fluid, it's me that I have to manage my time. If I think about it, I don't have time in the day to do many things. But if I'm really committed to it, if I'm really dedicated to it, and if that's something I want to do seriously, then I need to look at my day. I need to see where is it that I'm wasting my time. Like half of the time I waste just scrolling on Instagram, right? So if I always tell my husband that if I didn't waste so much time scrolling, I don't know what else will I do. So, so we really need to look at ourselves and think, okay, I'm good at this. Maybe I can do something with it, and then give it a serious thought. Explore it. If you feel it's not bringing you joy, don't do it. But at least try. Then you know for sure whether that's something for you or not.
Perfect. Makes sense. And I think some people, just to continue on that discussion a little bit, some people think that, oh, the side hustle, I'm really good. Maybe they're artists. I'm really good at art, but I really need to, convert my art into something and sell it, and it should earn me big money. Otherwise, it's just such a waste. So what would you say? I mean, they probably do enjoy it, but they're too hard on themselves because they think it doesn't generate any income.
I think, we are always taught to feel guilty about looking after ourselves. Like, women of my generation, we saw mothers being Taki Devi, right? Our mothers were selfless, they sacrificed. And we have learned that from our mothers or our fathers, where we've learned, okay, I'm going to do everything for others, but I will never do anything for myself. And we feel guilty to even spend a little bit of money on ourselves, right? How many times you will find your own parents doing that even now? I mean, I don't know any of my friends who are my age who will tell me that their parents are really enjoying their life. Their parents will be still saving. Their parents will be still cutting corners. Abhi bhi bus mein they'll go, in this time and all. And I feel like we are taught this generationally. Okay, you have to sacrifice. That is the only way to go ahead in life. Yeah, that is the only way to live. But I feel that, with COVID happening, it has put everything into perspective. Our lives are too short. जब मैं मर के ऊपर जाऊंगी, I don't want God, when God will ask me, what did you do? I don't want to tell God I only sacrificed. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. I did things for everyone else. And he will tell me, like, what about your life? This life that I gave you, this, and it sounds so silly, but I always say this to everyone, that he's going to tell me, like, I gave you this life. What did you do? I did nothing for myself. So I want to make sure that I tell people, take the leap. Kya hoga? What's going to happen? You're going to fail. A few people will laugh at you. Do you really care about what others are thinking? Like, just do it. And you never know what's going to happen. You never know what are you going to achieve from that. If nothing else, there will be this sense of joy that you did something for you. And that is, I'm telling you, at 42, I have discovered that it is the greatest gift, looking after yourself and doing something for yourself. It's just amazing. So I always tell people, you should take the leap. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. At least you will not, go to bed thinking, I didn't even try it. Because so many times, when you look at other people doing things, you think, I could have done this better. Or, I wish I had done this. What is stopping you from doing it? Yes, if it's something that's a little too expensive that you feel is going to cost you a lot of money, maybe save up, maybe make better decisions so that you can actually indulge in that, in that passion. Maybe don't buy new clothes for 6 months. Just save money so that you can actually do that one thing that is maybe going to give you joy for longer. That's my yarn for those who want to take the leap.
Spot on, Bhavna. That's really great. And I think you're absolutely right that we are just made to feel so guilty because of the conditioning that doing anything that gives us joy. But, we've heard people around us talking, kya hai ye? Waste of time. What are you doing? That is not giving you anything in return. So we are, and you're right that it takes a point of time, some kind of awakening, maybe, that you look back and think, but that 1 hour I spent doing whatever, color therapy, it made me so calm, or it made me reflect something, or probably gave you another idea that you implemented. It could, because you're in a relaxed state of mind, you're enjoying what you're doing, it might trigger another idea that will help you at work tomorrow, and your boss will be impressed with your idea. So you never know. Exactly right. You have to give it a go. Very true. So moving on, Jayanti, do you want to ask the next question?
Yeah. Also, I wanted to say that, Bhavna, it's so true what you said. It's like taking a leap, but I also feel like it's very important to remind ourselves that nothing is permanent. So even if you had a side hustle, and let's say after a few months, it was giving you, like what you said is so true. Like it was giving you joy, and then later it stopped giving you as much joy. You know, you want to channel that skill somewhere else. Like I think public speaking was one such thing for me. I was very, very heavily invested in public speaking, in Toastmasters, in leadership. And I think at some point of time, it sort of fizzled out a little bit for me. I would still probably consider going back to it, but public speaking is a skill I can use in any other area of my life. You know, like cooking, for example, is an art. You have that creativity in you. God forbid if something, not you, but God forbid if somebody loses their, it fizzles out for something, it's still a skill, or it's still something
Which
in
we
the
can come
background that
back
you
to.
can. Yep, exactly. So I think that's very important to remember, that things are not permanent, because we feel like it's a side hustle, to ye business hona hi chahiye, it should turn into something, but maybe it turns into something or maybe it doesn't. I think that's the joy of having a side hustle. And I love what you said about having a stable job that gives you a sense of security, because many people feel like, and what you said is also so true, that there's this whole positive psychology pressure of follow your passion, follow your dreams. Yeah, I want to follow my passion and follow my dreams, but also I want the
Also,
security.
also on money.
Yeah, exactly. Also money, also the sense of security of having my job. So
Yeah.
I think what you said is so true. So speaking of that, because you did speak about like facing certain types of challenges, mentally it takes a toll on you, and I can see from your writing that you're a reflective and a deep person, so I'm sure you came across like a lot of challenges. So what made you not give up, you know? What made you come back to it after going through a certain challenge?
So, I mean, I wouldn't want to take the time to talk about this challenge, but a lot of times when challenges happen, there are two things. Either you can, and this is something that I'm speaking for myself, because I am that sort of a person. I will wallow in self-pity for a day or two, but then I'm someone who will get up and say, it's all right, I'm going to deal with it. Uh, so for me, failure is just another part of your life, right? Not everything you do works out. And there will always be people in your life who will support what you do, who will cheer you up, and there will be people who will get you down and who laugh behind your back and call you an idiot, right? I just feel that it's exactly like success and failure, right? You can either look at the ones who are laughing at you and really believe what they're telling you and then let it get you down, or you can look at the people who are cheering you on the left and say, wow, I have this one person who's my cheerleader, who's actually got this flag for me, bhavna, bhavna, bhavna. I can either look at that person and get up and keep moving, or I can look at the 10 people who are saying you are like this, you're that way, and just get sucked into it. So life has, the challenges that life has taken me through have taught me one thing, exactly what you were saying, Jayanti, is nothing is permanent. Success and failure are both temporary. They come and they go. It is you and the person you are and the learnings you get from that. So I'm not going to let a failure get me down. I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to move ahead, so I don't make that same mistake again, but I will move ahead. So that's my thing. I will still move ahead. I'm not going to let anyone's opinion, anyone's judgment make me feel any less than I am. Because again, same thing. It has taken me so long to be here. I'm not going to let anything get me down anymore. Even a failure, it's not going to get me down, because otherwise, who am I? If I'm going to constantly get dejected by failure, yaar, ye nahi ho raha, this is not happening. Oh my God, I'm not able to do this. It's okay. I'm not perfect in everything. If my Instagram posts are not getting me enough like that, like someone else's, that's okay. Big deal. If my work is not appreciating what I'm doing, it's okay. I'll keep doing my work. Does that mean I'm going to stop? So I always believe in that. Move on, keep moving ahead. Do not let your failure or your success bring you down, or make you feel like, wow, I'm the, bus, everything is amazing now.
Yep. So true what you said. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like one thing that you said that really made me so that I found so relatable and so good is, like you said, you wallow in self-pity for a couple of days before you move on. And I think it's so important to take that time for grieving a failure, because people are always like, so what if you fail? You have to move on. Like, and I think everyone has a different process of grieving, whether it's a loss or a failure or whatever it is. And sometimes I just like to sometimes people are like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do something? And I'm like, no, just let me finish crying. I just want to cry right now. And
Yeah.
once I'm done with the crying, I will be ready to move on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a very human thing to feel pitiable about yourself, as pathetic as it is. I think it's a part of being a human being, and you have to let it pass at some point of time. So definitely, I agree that sitting with that grief of the failure is important as it is to move on from it.
That's very true actually, because for those who think they're too strong for this and oh, I don't have time to cry, and they haven't really processed that grief or the loss or whatever you said, Jayanti, because if you don't take time to process, you're not accepting it. And when you accept, that's when you accept, you grieve, and that's when you truly move on. Because if you pretend to be too strong and just move on, it's going to stick with you longer than you think.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I
like a
think
lot
that,
of times, sorry, you were saying?
no, that's gone. Bhavna.
And it's like a lot of times people, we feel people have let us down and we'll cry, why did this happen to me? मैंने तो इतने अच्छे से treat किया, why did they behave like this to me? I think sometimes when such things happen, we are not going to get the answers that we want, right? So many times we've had heartbreaks, our friends have let us down, our families let us down, and we still don't know why. How many of us have this situation where you still don't know why they did what they did? But for us, it's important to first process that, okay, this has happened, and then instead of wasting our energy for a longer time, trying to figure out okay, what's happening, why did this not work, just process it so that you can deal with it. And yes, that pain will not go away. Yes, that you might not get the answer, you might not never get the apology, but you will at least have moved on, because it is important. We have to move on. That's how life is, right? Otherwise, we are never going to be anywhere we want to be.
That's so true, Bhavna. That's true. And you're not for others. You can never force others to give you a reason, or there are things that you don't understand, but you can only control yourselves, and that's how you do it, by accepting and picking up and getting up again. So very well said. Moving on to the next question, which I believe is the final question. Yes. So, Bhavna, tell us about some amazing experiences you've had because of your side hustle that helped you grow spiritually too. Because a lot of people think about side hustle as their passion, interest. Okay, they think about getting some joy or maybe getting money or recognition, popularity, connecting. But it actually does help you grow personally and spiritually as well. So, can you share something about that?
Okay, how much time do you have? Because this can take a long time. So look, because I post on social media, I deal with people a lot, right? You interact with people, you form human connections. Unlike a corporate job where everyone has to be professional, everyone has to be answerable to you, it doesn't happen on social media. There are no professional boundaries, there are no rules around it. There's no way that people will behave, and you will not always get what you want. So I have found, that has helped me grow as a human being. It has made me a little more patient. It has made me understand that I need to, if I want the result that I'm looking for, I need to work towards it and get everything in, on paper. Like one of my biggest learning of social media is, if you do your own thing, first of all, don't look at what anyone else is doing. Be an ostrich, you do your own thing, focus on you. But if you are working with someone, then you make sure that you've got everything clear. There's no ambiguity, because you don't know what is in the other person's mind. So I think sometimes my experiences have taught me people will misrepresent what you're thinking or what you're saying, and that can lead to a lot of negativity. People, you are thinking something, someone else is assuming something else, and the next thing you know, you are this villain in their movie, right? So one thing I have learned is, first of all, be very clear about what you need, and always remember that it's not about you. So if people are behaving badly, or people are not behaving the way that you want them to, it's probably what they are dealing with. It's not you. As long as you are honest, you're clear, you're transparent, you're good. So spiritually, that's something that I now believe in. I really, really believe in focusing on me now. I have gone are the days when I used to look at other people's social media account and think, oh my God, why am I not getting so many likes? Because it's never going to help you. It just doesn't help. Like, a lot of people, a lot of times people write to me and say, how do you do this? How do I reach this number? And I always tell people I just grew organically. And I no longer care about the number, because only when you no longer care will you be unbothered. Otherwise, it will consume your life. And there is so much more, especially if you realize the outage that happened earlier this last week. There is life beyond social media. So we need to remember that if you focus on ourselves, social media is just something you do. It's not everything, right? So that has helped me evolve as a human being, you can say. I have realized that, I have my own challenges that I need to work on. So that's also an amazing experience, because you learn as a person, you get better, every day, because, as I said before, I'm not perfect. I have learned, how to take better pictures from others. I have learned how to get better at my writing, how to get better at my story, and acknowledging that these people have helped me. So there's no shame in acknowledging that, there are other people who helped you on this journey. It just makes you a bigger person. That when you acknowledge and you take the other people with you on that journey as well. So those are the things that I have learned, that have helped me grow, and I think have made me a little 1% better than what I was 12 years ago. I wouldn't say 100%. 100% ho gaya, so then there's no more growth left, but at least 1% is good.
Fantastic. That's great, Bhavna. And you're right. It's so true about social media having being that all-consuming thing. And before you know it, you've got an array of emotions that you're not able to control. So very, very well said. That social media is just something you do. It's not your life, and it's not you. It's just one of the activities that you do. Very, very true. Very true. So if we move on, what have we got next? Okay, we have an activity next that Jayanti is going to conduct. So if you are curious about what is this? I mean, most of us know we're good at things because they come naturally to us. So like Jayanti mentioned, whether it was public speaking at Toastmasters or Bhavna being able to create these amazing delicacies, or there's so many different people on social media who talk about either, the children or home decor or doing art. So many different things that we're good at. But if you really want to focus on, maybe I'm looking at a side hustle and I'm good at a few different things. How do I actually zone into that? Then this is the activity that I'll really encourage you to do with Jayanti now. Jayanti, over to you.
Thanks, Kalyani. I really like this activity and I'm going to conduct it now. We've done this before. So I'm going to try to cut it short and make it simple and just explain it to you. We can do a little bit right now, but also if there are other people, because we've got less time now, and I think because there was a lot of people who were very excited about Bhavna coming in. She has, I saw that a lot of my friends are following her. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Like people already know about you. So if there are any people who want to ask some questions, please feel free to type them in the chat window while this is going on. So I'll take you through the passion, curiosity, skill, activity. So essentially what we want to do is have a Venn diagram of all these three activities coming together. So you might be really passionate about something, but like what Bhavna said, think about what you're good at, what you're really good at. Because I think I'm quite passionate about music, for example. I may be good at it, but I don't think I'm exceptionally good at it. Realistically speaking, I don't think I have the potential to become like a Lata Mangeshkar at this stage of my life. So I think whereas I'm really good at public speaking, I'm really curious about science. I'm really passionate also about science and research and biology. So yeah, those merge in well, and they like enable me to do some science communication type of thing. So I could do a science communication side hustle. So that's an example. So Also, feel free to type in the chat window what some of your passions are. What are you curious about? Because I think that's very important. The element of curiosity, it's a big driver. If you're curious about science, space, I don't know, it could be many things. So list out the idea behind doing this is not to list a few things, but to list many things and see where they intersect. Someone might be really passionate about photography, art, these kind of things. They might be very curious about like physics. They might be interested in knowing how camera works. And they might be really skilled at, I don't know, colors, art, something like that. And they can integrate into like doing a photography thing. And when this happens, um, what I would want you to do is dedicate some of your time. I'm not saying like what Bhavna said, I truly agree. It's not about quitting your job and just, tomorrow I'm going to be an author and I'm going to publish my book. No, I might just spend like an hour a week or something like that. Just start doing something, something that I enjoy, something that I really want to do. And maybe it will turn into something, or maybe it won't, but it's never hurts trying. So someone said they are passionate about traveling, uh, curious about traveling. If you're curious about traveling, if you're passionate about, I don't know, see, like traveling, photography, art, these things can come together. If you're good at writing, for example, if you're passionate about art, if you're curious about traveling, seeing the world, seeing other cultures, you could start a travel blog. You've probably traveled before, um, something like that. Little things. There are some questions. Our biggest takeaway, planet. Yes. Thank you for the amazing stories. Is there anyone else who wants to say something? Naina had asked a question before also, which was, how do we come out of our conditioning of do not venture into experimenting? Do you have something to say on that, Bhavna?
I think, Naina, coming back to what I said earlier, like as a Mauritius Indian, for me, even thinking about doing my own business was like really scary because my own father had a business that failed. So it was my mother's job that helped us through. So for me, having the job helped me to venture into doing this. So it was like a cushion that I could depend upon to, do the side hustle. So even if the side hustle didn't work, there was nothing major that was going to change in my life. I'm still going to have food on my table. So I think that having that reassurance, okay, I still have a backup plan, that helped me get out of my own conditioning, from my own head, saying, okay, you know what, I can do this. It's not going to destroy anything. It's not going to kill anything. So that was my way of getting out of my own conditioning and what I have been taught as a child, what I've seen my parents do, my in-laws do, a lot of my, older generation of my family do. So that's how I helped. It helped, sorry.
It looks like Gayatri wants to say something. And also, Gayatri is my friend. She's so good at cooking, and she's been following you for a while. I think she's really inspired by you, and I think she's quite an incredible cook herself. She's also an artist like you. Are you here, Gayatri?
Yes, I'm here. And first of all, thank you, Jayanti, for appreciating me. And I'm Bhavna. I'm really, really big fan of yours. I've been following you for a long time. And I really like your simple, rustic recipes. And I really like that, the ingredients are very simple and it's just normal stuff that makes them so special. It's not like, you cook biryani every day or something like that. And that's something I feel is very realistic, very grounded, and can be achieved by anyone. And the second thing I would like to actually talk about is the every morning you share the chantings via Spotify, and actually those chants or the music that you share have really helped me when I go for a run. usually I would listen to like upbeat Bollywood music in the morning, but when I switched to like listening to chantings, I felt really, really amazing, and my run was really good. So yeah, I would really like want to share, tell people that part of you, like if you follow Bhavna, she really
Thank
shares
you.
some really good music, and it's really good. And all the quotes you put up on your post, the shairis, it's really nice. It's not just about food. It's just about like different aspects of life, and sharing some good thoughts and positivity, and just in general, whenever I read up your post or your story, I always feel good about it. I feel like, okay, you know what, like it's okay. Things are gonna be fine for me because I've read something incredible. I felt really nice for that moment. And with the social media and with so many influencers, so many wannabe cooks out there, I like that you have that your own unique and special touch, and it inspires people like me every day.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. That was so sweet. Um, just so that everyone knows, I'm very spiritual. I think, they say as you get older, you look for something to hold on to. So I have moved to God. I am not religious. I don't do like puja part, but I do light a diya every day. I am fasting for Navratri, but I'm not fasting like proper, like, I'm just fasting to because I eat a lot. So I'm giving my body a break. But I find that our Indian culture has this treasure trove of these amazing chants and amazing music. Not that Western music is not nice, but I connect more with Indian music. Like I listen to a lot of Marathi abhangs. I'm not a Maharashtrian, but I grew up in Bombay, so I understand Marathi really well. Even though I can't speak it, but I will listen to a lot of Marathi devotional music. I listen to Tamil music, even though I don't understand it. I listen to a lot of chanting in Sanskrit. Half of the time, I don't know what I'm listening to. But it's just, I think it gives you the chance to look inside, and it lets you really just calm down for a little while, listen to something that's nice. And that's something I tell everyone. You should, when you wake up in the morning, put some nice chants. You don't have to believe in them. You don't have to be religious. It's just positive energy. It is, instead of sitting there going through your phone, reading news, getting stressed out, if you're putting this positive energy out, you will also have, it will help you internally. So thank you, Gayatri, for putting that out. I wouldn't be anywhere without my mantras and it has brought a huge change in my life, a huge change in my life. So
That's so beautiful. I think it's very true. Because especially after moving to Australia, Bhavna, I think it's been 4 years since I moved to Australia. And I've been going to this yoga class regularly, and the yoga teacher is Australian. He knows his pronunciation may not be perfect, but the way he speaks Sanskrit, the knowledge he has is like amazing for me to look at, and just like getting ideas from him. He recommended a few things that he plays, and I just love listening to like Sanskrit in different accents, American accent, British accent. It is so grounding for me. Do a lot of Krishna Das and these kind of people.
Yeah, like Krishna Das, right? Biggest. Yeah.
I love Krishna Das. Yeah, it's so like, this is so off topic, but probably we should have like a Krishna Das gathering at some point of time.
And the interesting thing is, these people are not born in our culture, but they are teaching us about our own culture and tradition. And we don't teach that to our children. We've lost it. So I feel it is really time to look into our own culture for our own healing,
So true.
And it helps. Like I am suffering from a lot of health issues. I've started going back. I've just spoken to an Ayurvedic doctor, and he's an Australian who's learned Ayurveda from an Indian teacher. And he's telling me about about ashwagandha, about this. He can't even pronounce it properly. And I just think, oh my God, I'm paying so much money to this person to teach me what I already know, what my culture is. But it's interesting because it's getting me to think. It's getting me to go back and really give it a serious thought. So exactly what you said.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I think we're running out of time. And I don't see anything in the chat apart from that. So if anyone has done this activity about the passion, curiosity, and skill, and where they intersect. If you want some ideas of what you can do with the intersection of these, please feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram or on our Teja Instagram, and I'll be happy to have a chat about that as well. Kalyani, is there anything more you want to say?
No, just quickly to drive the point home about this exercise, giving an example of Teja, how we started Teja. So I think Jayanti and she mentioned we're passionate about say what we learned dynamic meditation from our mentor and how it really changed things in our life, how we started seeing evidence of what, the power that dynamic meditation had. And then we were curious about how the mind works and how the brain thinks and how, there's so much in terms of energy that you can absorb. And the skill I think we had is in terms of researching and bringing topics and connecting with people. So that's an example of how Teja started. And we're actually proud to say that everyone has busy schedules, but we've kept it going for well over a year, bringing all these amazing people like Bhavna. And in the process, we grow ourselves. So much gratitude for it. So I would encourage you to do this as homework. Just write down, say 10 or 12 things that you're passionate about, curious about, and you're good at, and then try and do this exercise of doing the intersection with all the different activities. And some idea might spark and it might turn into something. You'll look back and think, that's great that I did this, and I'm so glad it's working. So I think that wraps up the session. I'm just going to do a quick summary of what we talked about. So as Bhavna mentioned, see, it's a side hustle, so don't be too hard on yourself. हर एक को business बनाना ही है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. You're enjoying, give away that guilt, just take the pure pleasure out of it. Focus on the joy and appreciate the networks that you build through the process. So I think Jayanti and I are so grateful about the networks that we've built through Teja and the amazing people that we've spoken to. And so many people that are already in our network that, social media, where we just do hi, hello, but we've seen the potential that they brought to this platform and we learned so much in the process. So I think thankful for that. And I think just during your journey, look back. It could be something really simple that you're doing and you continue to do, like Jayanti mentioned, maybe an hour or 2 hours a week, you spend time doing what you truly love. And 6 months down the line, it has blossomed into something. And in the moment, it's really easy to be like, push yourself and go, oh, I'm not satisfied with where I'm at. But look back to the 6 months when you started this process. You've already come such a long way. So that will always encourage you to keep pursuing it. And like Bhavna mentioned, plan. But don't be too hard on yourself if you don't stick to the plan, but do plan. And so that's the summary. And moving on, I've just got some media links. So Jayanti and I, we always research the topic and come up with. So there's some books there that you might be interested in, or we looked up a TED Talk. And then there was an article and a podcast. There's a website called Side Hustle School. I haven't honestly explored it that much, but give it a go. You never know what you'll find there. Start with Why. Simon Sinek is an amazing speaker. So listen to his talk on YouTube. He's written a book about Start with Why. And I think when we did this goal setting exercise, which I remember, the first thing they told us was write 50 reasons why you wanted a goal. So simple thing, if you really want a goal, like I want to buy my house, I want to buy this amazing house, or whatever goal you have, or I want this amazing job, write down the 50 reasons why. Because it's very easy to doing, if you're doing a tedious job application, which I know Jayanti at the moment, she's going through that process. It's so easy to get frustrated and give up, but you'll go back to the 50 reasons why I want this job, and that will really fuel your fire to keep going. So do that. Read the book, Start with Why. That's why the why is so powerful, more than anything else. And then get inspired by some people whose side hustles have really paid off, like Marie Kondo, for example. Who would think that she could make this massive business and even a show out of how to tidy up your apartment or something simple like that? But she was really passionate about it. She was very skilled at it. She taught people, and it has become this massive thing. It's a massive trend. And isn't it so amazing? It's so satisfying for Marie Kondo, I'm sure, that she's helping so many people get their lives on track. So you never know what's hidden in you. get inspired by the side hustlers that have made it even big. Would you like to add anything, Jayanti or Bhavna, to any interesting inspiration that you've had in regards to side hustle?
Just that, instead of sitting there and judging people, like how many of us looked at Marie Kondo and thought, "Arey yaar, I could have also done this. I do this all the time. I'm such a clean freak." Like I'm a clean freak, right? Like I don't need to watch TV to do it, but she had the guts to make something out of it. So instead of sitting there and, judge people or laugh at people, think, "Oh, I could have done this," do it, really do it, because then you also know what you are capable of.
Very well
That's
said,
so
Bhavna.
true. Yeah.
It's so easy to judge others and comment on others, but doing it yourself is a lot of hard work. But those who do it and do it consistently, I'm sure it pays off. And it probably, you feel like it may not pay off financially at that time, but who knows, it could. There's so many startup stories. I'm sure there's a lot of inspiration out there.
Yeah.
So
true. I think
yeah.
Deepika has also said something about Simon Sinek. He's good. And also Tim Ferriss. I really like him. He's got the 4-hour work week. I think I've heard the podcast before on this subject, but I like his talking. And I did some research on this guy, Chris Guillebeau. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce his last name. I think it's French, but but I really like that he's got a book called, so he's got a everyday plan and from 1 to 27 days of how to turn your, how to have start with an idea and get to a point where you are like establishing a proper side hustle from it. So I thought that was quite cool. So I really like that. And so true what you said about Marie Kondo, Bhavna. I think it's like everyone says maybe because of and I've heard, and it is if it's something, it's because sometimes people feel tidying up is such a regular thing. Like, why would you want a side hustle from it? But you never know. Like, I was talking to my partner the other day and he was cleaning. I saw the joy on his face when he sucked up like a piece of dirt from the vacuum cleaner, and it's like, oh, I could start a cleaning business. And I was like, yeah, you could if you wanted to. You never know. Anything that gives you joy, why not?
Sure. Yeah. So I think that wraps up our session for today. There's some past webinars there, so please check out our YouTube channel, Teja Discover Your Radiant. It has got all our past sessions recorded, and if you'd like to share or listen to another session from the past, last month we had Performing Under Pressure, and then there was really another incredible one on time management and productivity. So please do visit our channel, catch up on past sessions, and this one will be recorded as well, so we can share the link with all of you. And please feel free to pass it on to other friends and family who would appreciate listening about side hustle. That's our Instagram and YouTube. And once again, thank you so much, Bhavna, for taking the time.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciated what you said, and such a wonderful chat, very candid, straight from the heart. And I'm sure audiences are inspired, motivated, and they'll be checking out your Instagram, I'm sure. And
Thank you, everyone.
when they might do one of your cooking lessons. Probably.
Yeah, that would be great. But thank you, everyone. It was lovely. I had a great time.
Thanks, Bhavna. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Take care. Stay safe.